Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It's about quarter till 7 here on Sunday evening on the 7th of May 2023. We're going to take a look at the week ending May 5th and see if anything presents itself. I'll give you a hint, maybe a little bit, but not much. Well, a little bit of a mystery right now. But before I get into that, let me remind you that the website and the video, they're both just for educational purposes. Nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. And I'm not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. So let's take a look. Starting out, we are looking at a weekly chart. Of course, that means that each one of these candles is a week of trading. And our last two, our last three candles have been pretty much with the real bodies in the same range. You can see we had that little spinning top 3 weeks ago, a little bit maybe of a hanging man last week, and then another bit of a hanging man this week. And typically a hanging man is a bearish pattern, but that candle did not get any kind of confirmation. And this one, I don't think it's going to get confirmation either. So I think what we're seeing is just a market that's finding some resistance up there at that orange line that defines a fairly large-sized ascending triangle. And since we only have two touches on the lower line, it's possible that we come down for a third touch before potentially getting over that upper line. So let's take a look at things now on an hourly chart. Now we see a little bit more detail. And what we see is that our green rising channel has broken down. We clearly, and that comes as no surprise because that was more than a double for a year, almost 130% annualized rate of return on that. The fact that we were in that channel for over 5 weeks, I think is pretty good. So we broke down, formed a descending wedge. That was 2 weeks ago. That wedge served to bring us back up to our line of resistance, that orange line, which, by the way, I adjusted just a little bit so that it matches the highs that we saw this week. And then we formed what appeared to be a very small and short-lived, I believe short-lived, descending parallel channel that's sort of looks like it's a bull flag, but the only thing is we still have this line of resistance up here. So I don't know whether that little bull flag will be sufficient for us to rally back up to this line and take it out. Maybe, but there's nothing in this chart that says, yeah, I would expect that to happen. So right now, it looks like we have resistance up there at about that 4176-ish, 78-ish level. Is that where that is? Yeah, excuse me, 87, not 77. 4186, 87. And also now looks like we have some support right, let's just call it 4050. So two touches on 4050. If that were to give way at some point this week, then I would expect us to come down and try to see if this lower orange line can give us some support. But really, the only lesson that I see for us this week isn't any great lesson in where we're going. We saw previous week that this little wedge did its thing. But what we're seeing this week, if you want to say, is there something you could use of the past 5 days to teach somebody something about charts, it would be pretty simple, and that would be that there was a short-term bear flag on this chart, slightly rising wedge. And you know how they talk about flags flying at half-mast? Well, if you look at the move that came into that flag, I'd be willing to bet it's very close to the move that fell out of it. Let's measure it, see if those old-timers knew what they were talking about. There's the move. There's the degree of descent before that flag started to form. And where does that line up with almost exactly the same amount? Now, keep in mind, and I've said this before, that's usually something that you only can kind of enjoy in retrospect. I don't know that if you saw this, and let's pretend like we're looking at this chart midday on the 3rd. I don't know that you could look at that and say, yeah, if this breaks down, then I'm expecting to get down to about 40-50. I don't know that that's a fair read, but it is still, in retrospect, something that happens remarkably often. So do what you will with that. So move down on the 2nd, bear flag. Then on the 3rd, that move continues, and then early on the 4th, it continues. We find some support, and remember what happened here this past week on the 3rd. What caused this? FOMC day. Jerome Powell speaks, and the markets get spooked. So, and then yet 2 days later, here we are right back to where we were as he walked up to the podium. Interesting stuff. So what am I looking for this week? Well, this particular week, there's nothing in this chart in the way of a pattern that I think we could look at and say, well, this should happen. There really isn't. I think we should stay north of any line that's underneath us. Okay, I doubt we're going to get back under this descending gray line from that larger, what I think may be a bull flag. So that's probably this line right here is probably going to be support. And until we get over this orange line, I think we have to view it as resistance. And that's really about all that's in the chart right now. Wish I had more for you. I will say this, that I do think that our targets are still alive. Okay, remember we had that target from the diamond pattern. Let's bring that up. Here's the diamond pattern right here. That target still is up there, but I don't know that there's anything in the chart that says that we start to head up there immediately. So that's what I'm talking about when I don't really have a sense of direction. I can't tell you, in other words, whether we go up or down tomorrow. We could go down for the week and bounce on this line and then head up to reach the target. Or if there's some good news, maybe some good earnings come in, maybe we bust out over this orange line tomorrow. So that's what I'm saying. There's just, I don't know what path we might take to get there, but this orange line is putting up a fight, and that target is still up there. So there you have it. I think that's about all I got for you here on this weekend. Thanks for taking time out of your weekend to watch this. And thank you for your very kind support. Take care.